What a thrill ride that was. I mean, of course, this data, it can have quite serious implications for people's quality of life, maybe for where you choose, if you have the luxury of choice, to get your next job. Charlotte Horobin is here to talk us through the implications of these numbers. She's the Chief Executive Officer for the Cambridgeshire Chambers of Commerce. Charlotte, good morning.
Good morning.
Do these numbers come as a surprise to you, that big disparity between average earnings in South Cambridgeshire and average pay in Fenland?
I think it's a game of two halves, to be honest. I think if we were to compare many areas of the country to Cambridge and South Cambridgeshire, you would always get this disparity because we've got such a unique world-leading cluster of knowledge-intensive industries around Cambridge and South Cambridgeshire. However, I think it is really important that we don't lose sight of that disparity and that gap that we've got between Fenland and then the English average. And that really does signpost where we've got to see extra effort, support provided into Fenland to make sure that we can, as you describe, increase the prosperity, increase the quality of life, and increase the experience that people having in Fenland are able to achieve.
OK, so it's not necessarily the difference between earnings in Fenland and earnings in South Cambridgeshire that you're concerned about. It's more the difference between average earnings in Fenland and the England average.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a surprise. It was ironic that in your game, that was probably the question that was the tripper, as it were. But I do think, though, when we take that larger comparison and look across the wider region and then look at the English average, it certainly does point to, OK, but there is something quite different and something that is needed to support Fenland's future prosperity and growth.
What would you like to see to maybe push up earnings in Fenland and maybe push up opportunity in Fenland?
Well, we know some really key points about Fenland through the Local Skills Improvement Plan, which was approved by the Secretary of State for Education this summer. So in Fenland, we know that 28% of people don't have any formal qualifications. If we compare that to other parts of the county, that's around 6%. So there's clearly, qualifications are not everything in terms of skills and training, but it's an indicator that we do need to have a better provision of education. And it's brilliant to see investment into the likes of the College of West Anglia, the North Cambridge Training Centre, and really key that we get that investment into a university through ARU Peterborough. But we do know that Fenland is still third out of 316 local authorities for education, skills and training needs. So really key that we see investment into education so that we can provide opportunity for all. But then it's really key in a place like Fenland that we can make sure people can access that. So infrastructure, local connectivity and infrastructure is really, really important.
I wonder what this data can tell us about how valued different types of work are and what that says about us as a society, because I don't think it's an overreach to suggest that there will be more jobs in agriculture, in food production, in the Fenland and East Cambridgeshire districts, which are among the lowest earning in our county, versus a lot of the probably office or lab-based jobs in Cambridge and South Cambridgeshire, and whether it's right that we seem to, as a society, value the jobs in food production a little less highly than the people working away in shiny offices.
I think it's not necessarily about value, but sometimes it is that the cost of the product. If you're producing a food product, you could argue that is going to, in society, have a lower value, which is probably a positive thing to make sure we can all get fed, versus producing some very complex materials and looking into that world-class research. And we've also got to embrace a really diverse economy. One thing that I've seen over the years is when tough times come, actually, areas that have got food manufacturing and food production do really well, because when